Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something pretty amazing, unlocking the power of the great outdoors as a classroom. We're going to explore how you can turn pretty much any outdoor space, yep, even that small schoolyard, into a super dynamic, hands-on place for learning. Let's get right into it.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. What if the key to getting your students truly engaged, to seeing real-world connections, to sparking just pure wonder? What if it wasn't in another textbook, but it was literally right outside your door? That's the incredible idea we're digging into today.
So let's be really clear about something. Taking your class outside, it isn't just about getting a little fresh air. It's a huge shift in how we think about teaching. You know, it taps into how we're all wired to learn, through moving, through our senses, through actually doing things. That's why it works so well. It's really about rethinking where and how learning can even happen.
And what's so cool is that every single school already has this resource. It doesn't matter if you've got huge green fields or just a little patch of concrete. Your schoolyard is a living laboratory. It is packed with things to explore, things to investigate, and a million questions just waiting for your students to ask. I just love this quote from the source material. It just nails the feeling, right? It's all about jumping in, getting your hands dirty, sometimes literally, and just embracing that messy, amazing experience of learning from the world around us.
Okay, but I get it. Making this kind of shift brings up a lot of questions. I hear them all the time. But how does this fit the curriculum? But what do we do about the weather? So this next part is all about tackling those hurdles head on. We're going to turn every single but into a practical how.
This is the big one, isn't it? For any dedicated teacher, this is the make or break question. How in the world do you make sure you're hitting all your standards when you're not in your nice, predictable classroom? Well, it turns out there's a brilliant way to think about this.
And this framework right here shows you the way. You don't have to go all in at once. You can start small, with substitution. That's just taking something you already do, like reading a story, and doing it outside. Easy enough. Then you can move up to augmentation, where you use nature to make the lesson better, like collecting different leaves when you're talking about seasons. And as you get more comfortable, you hit modification and redefinition. That's where the outdoors becomes the reason for the lesson, with students leading their own projects. It's like a ladder that you and your class can climb together.
The weather. The one thing none of us can control, right? This is probably the second biggest reason teachers hesitate. It just seems so unpredictable. But it really doesn't have to be a deal breaker. There's this amazing philosophy from the forest and nature school world, and it is a total game changer. The idea isn't that every day is sunny and perfect, no way. It's that if you're prepared, you can learn in almost any condition. It's not about bad weather, it's about having the wrong clothes. So, the key is just to be prepared. We're talking simple, practical stuff. Check the forecast every day. Let parents know what kind of gear their kids need. If it's hot, hats, shade, lots of water. If it's cold, layers, layers, layers. And of course, you set up a clear policy for when it's genuinely unsafe to be out. Once you do that, you're pretty much ready for anything.
All right, now for the really fun part. We've talked about the buts, so let's see what this actually looks like. We're going to check out some awesome real-world examples of how all those regular school subjects just come alive when you take them outside. This is where the magic happens.
Look at this. Instead of just talking about an abstract idea like mass, these students are building their own scales out of sticks. They're actually feeling the difference in weight between a rock and a pine cone. That's learning with your whole body. It makes the concept real, and believe me, they won't forget it.
And you can use that same idea for so many things. I mean, why use boring old plastic tiles to teach area when you have an endless supply of leaves and sticks? This gets kids problem solving and thinking creatively. It turns a simple math task into a fun design challenge. And this is where it gets really cool. You can layer subjects together. Building a sundial? That's not just a science project about how the Earth spins. It's a math lesson on angles, a lesson on measurement, and even a history lesson on how people told time for thousands of years. All of that with a stick in the ground. It's brilliant. The outdoors is honestly the world's best art gallery and science museum all rolled into one. Here, students can find these incredible, complex patterns in nature, like the symmetry in a leaf or the fractals in a fern, and then use those same materials to create their own beautiful art. It connects what they see directly to what they can make.
So with all this discovery happening, you've got to document it, right? And that's how we bring in literacy. An outdoor journal isn't just a diary.
It's a real tool for a scientist or an engineer. Students can draw plans for a fort, jot down measurements, record what they see. It gives their writing a real, immediate purpose.
So we've got the why and we've got the what. But what about the how? How do you actually manage a whole class of excited kids in a space that doesn't have any walls? Well, that's what this last section is all about. The practical nuts and bolts routines that make everything run smoothly.
Now, this might sound a little backward, but the absolute key to having all that freedom and exploration and creativity outside is actually having a really strong structure and routine. It's true. When kids know the rules and they know what to expect, they feel safe. And when they feel safe, that's when they're confident enough to really explore.
It all boils down to a simple 3-step process. First, anticipate. Go out to the space beforehand and think like a kid. What's going to look really fun to climb? What's tempting to throw? Second, set clear boundaries. You can use natural things like a line of trees or simple visual cues like a rope. And third, this one's the most important. Empower your students. Frame everything in a positive way. So instead of "don't throw rocks," you redirect that energy. "Wow, I see you really want to throw. Let's see how high we can stack these rocks instead."
And finally, you build that sense of community. Simple rituals, like always starting class in the same spot or ending by sharing what your favorite part was, they create consistency. And fun traditions, like doing a big schoolyard cleanup every spring, give students a real sense of ownership over their space. These little things make a huge, huge difference.
Because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's about opening that door and letting our kids' natural curiosity just take over. It's about trusting that when you let your students loose in nature, amazing, authentic learning is going to happen.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. That space right outside your school, no matter what it looks like, is just packed with potential. It's an ecosystem, a lab, a canvas, a library, all in one. It's waiting for you. What will your students discover out there?